सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Let us chant the first two verses. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramitya vidhiyate Etadyo vetti tam prahuhu Kshetrajna iti tadvidaha Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi Sarvakshetreshu bharata Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam Yatta jnanam matam mama. In these two verses, Lord Krishna uses the teaching about the basic reality of our own self. It is most important to know what we truly are, because we are born with an ignorance of our own self. Not only ignorance, but with false knowledge or false perception. Meaning that not only do I truly not know do I not know what truly I am, but I know myself quite contrary to what I really am. What am I really? Upanishad says, Tattvamasi, that thou art, you are limitless. You are full, you are complete, you are limitless. There is no lack in you, there is no want in you. You are ever free. You are of the nature of consciousness, ever free. This is the teaching of the Upanishad. So not only we do not know that I am limitless, that I am ever free, that I am complete being, that happiness is my nature, that love is my nature, freedom is my nature. Not only do I not know that, but I take myself to be quite contrary to what I truly am. Meaning that whereas freedom is my nature, I take myself to be a bound person. Whereas limitlessness is nature, I take myself to be a limited being. Happiness is my nature, I take myself to be a sad or unhappy being. Why is it so? Well, that is called ignorance. Very often in frustration we ask, why Swamiji? Why should I be born with this kind of ignorance? Who created ignorance? Why is this universe created? Why is samsara there? Sometimes we get frustrated with life and we ask these questions. And unfortunately, we have no answer to this question, why? Why ignorance? Ignorance has no reason, it has no beginning. It is there. From the time beginningless. In fact, everything is created out of ignorance. In short, why are we ignorant? No answer. Why do we take ourselves to be quite contrary to what we are? Why do we take ourselves limited when limitlessness is our nature? No answer. That's what it is. So as though we are left here with a big puzzle for us to be solved. Swami, is there a purpose in life? This is the purpose. That we are born with as a puzzle. And the purpose is to solve the puzzle. So when we solve that puzzle, then we become free. We become free from all unhappiness, all limitation. And that is the goal of life. To be happy, to be free, to be loving. The freedom to love, freedom to give, freedom to be available. Right now, freedom to be kind, freedom to be compassionate. Sometimes we find that we are not even free to be compassionate. We are not even free to love. We are not even free to give. There is something within which says, wait a minute, don't do that. Don't give away. Don't just love unconditionally. So there is something within me which is very insecure, fearful. Thus my insecurity, my self-centeredness, my fears prevent me from my being free to be what I like to be. I like to love, I like to give, I like to be kind, I like to help out, I like to reach out, I like to be compassionate. That's what I like. Although often freedom is wrongly understood as license to do what I want to do. So very often People feel that freedom means the license to do what I want to do. But that is not really what I want. As I said, if we truly look at ourselves, I am a loving person. I like to love and give. But there is something within me that seems to inhibit this very desire of me. So that is all these wrong notions born of ignorance. Therefore, Vedanta teaches that what is necessary in our life is to become free from this ignorance. Very important. Meaning, becoming free from these wrong notions or wrong perceptions about myself. To see myself truly for what I am. To see that freedom or limitlessness is my nature, which is the reality. That means to know the reality of myself. And the beauty is that when I love myself, I have no difficulty in loving anything else and anybody else. We have the basic problem with our own self, that we do not love ourselves. We do not quite unconditionally accept our own self. We are not satisfied or happy with our own self. So really, who is the biggest problem for myself? I am the biggest problem for myself. The I that I find myself to be, I find myself to be a limited person, a limited being, a lacking, wanting being. That lacking, wanting, limited being that I find myself, that is my problem. I can't accept that self. I cannot accept myself that is limited, lacking, wanting, needing. I can't accept it. And that's the reason why I am seeking acceptance from the whole world. The reason why your opinion about myself is so important to me, the reason why I am seeking approval from you, is because I find it so difficult to approve myself. If I approve myself, if I love myself, if I am happy with myself, I just do not need anything at all. That's all I need. All I need is happiness and love and acceptance and approval, and that's what I'm constantly seeking in life. I'm seeking from the world. Unfortunately, world has its own agenda, has its own problem, its own condition, and there's no way that I can gain an unconditional love. It's not possible. I have to discover an unconditional love for myself. And that is when I will discover that I truly am what I am seeking to be. I want to be a loving, kind, beautiful, good person. That's what I already am. It is ignorance that prevents me from the true knowledge of myself. And therefore, knowledge becomes the most important thing. Inasmuch as all our sorrow, all our unhappiness is a product of ignorance, there is no reason other than ignorance to be unhappy in our life. It is not lack of house or money or this, that or any material thing that need to be a problem for me. No lack or want of material things that need not be a problem for me at all. Meaning that I am not a millionaire or not a wealthy person need not be a problem. That I am not recognized, I am not well known, that need not be a problem. If I cease to be a problem to me, none of these will remain problems to me. Right now, everything is a problem because I am the problem to myself. But if I discover love for my own self, I am satisfied with myself, I am happy with myself, then I have no need at all. The need behind all the needs is just self-satisfaction, self-acceptance, happiness, love. That is the need behind all the needs. I may think that I need to be a millionaire, I think that I must have a given kind of vehicle, a house, or whatever else I think I need. That's what I think I need. But behind all those needs of things here and hereafter, the one simple need is that I want to be free. I want to be free from needs. Thank God Vedanta says that, hey, you already are what you are trying to be. You already are most lovable. You are most lovable. You are of the nature of happiness. You are most acceptable. This fact has to be discovered. Now, first of all, you have to know the realities. As Lord Krishna says, that you are not this body, mind, sense complex that you take yourself to be. The reason why you feel that you are a limited being is because you are identified with what is limited. There is limitation someplace. That this body is indeed limited. The sense organs are limited. My capacity to see, hear, all of this is limited. My mind is limited. My capacity to think, know, all of this is limited. And those limitations need not be a problem. Unfortunately, what I am habitually doing is that the limitations belonging to body, sense organs, mind, intellect, to my personality, all those limitations are habitually superimposed upon me, and I think that I am limited. Like looking into a mirror and there is a crack in the mirror, I think that there is some crack in my face. Traveling the railway train, early morning I woke up, half asleep, went to the bathroom, looked at my face in the mirror, and I found my face was all twisted. I said, did I have a stroke? What did I have? Except that the twist belonged to the mirror and I thought it belonged to me. Similarly, limitations all belong to body, sense organs, mind, intellect. They are all created. Whatever is created is limited. Regardless of how strong the body is, how great the intellect is, however wonderful, but they are going to be limited. Unfortunately, I treat those limitations as my limitations. Therefore Lord Krishna said in the first verse, Idam shariram kaunte kshetram iti avidiyate. Hey kaunte, hey Arjuna, this body, which also includes the sense organs, the mind, intellect, my personality. Arjuna, you are a union of two entities. You think that you are one. What you call I, that I actually is made up of two entities. Later on in this chapter, they'll call Purusha and Prakriti, the person and the personality, the spirit and matter, the self and non-self. The word I that use that for myself, that I in fact is a union of these two entities, person and personality. Realize that this body, mind, sense complex is a personality. You are the person. How do I know that I am not the body? How do I know that I am not the mind? Etadyo vetitam prahu. The simple rule is, hey Arjuna, hey, you are the knower of this body. You are aware of your body. In your mind, you can see this body. You can feel every part of the body. You are the awarer of the body. Body is the object of your awareness. You also are aware of your emotions. You are aware of your thoughts. Awarer or knower is always different from what is known. This simple rule. Ghata drashta, ghata bhinna. The knower of a part is different from a part. Meaning, the knower is always different from the knower. So thus, we already know that we are knowers, but still we overlook that fact. Very often, we do identify this body as my body. When I go to a doctor, I tell the doctor, what's wrong with my stomach? I've hurt my hand. My head is aching. That's what I say. I don't say I'm aching. My head is aching. I say my stomach is aching. My hand is, I don't say I'm broken. My hand is broken. My leg is broken. Is it not so? Thus, when I declare this hand is my hand, the head is my head, then there is a wisdom involved in there that I am not the hand or the head or the leg, that I am the possessor of that. At that time, this wisdom is expressed. Unfortunately, habitually again, just next moment, I start declaring, I am the hand, I am the head. So Lord Krishna is simply drawing our attention to this fact. That understand that you are the knower. The knower and known are lumped together. In Vedanta there is a druk drishya. The subject, object, the seer, seen, they are lumped together. The body is seen, the self is a seer, but not knowing the distinction. The body itself is called self, meaning body is kept in the category of the seer, subject. The knower is a subject, what is known is object. The clock is the object, I am the subject, the knower. So also the body is known to me, I am aware of the body, so body is the object, I am the subject. What do? The subject and object get lumped together and the body itself is taken to be self, meaning that the body is raised to the level of the self, the subject, the drashta, the seer, which is not the case. And so Adi Shankaracharya says in his famous Nirvana Shatkam, Mano Buddhi Ahankara Chittaninam, says this Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta. These different thoughts, I am not. Nacha Shrotra Jihve, Nacha Ghrana Netre, these organs of perception, the organ of hearing, the organ of seeing, this person, I am not. Nacha Vyomhome, Nat Tejo Navayu, the 5 elements I am not. The body made of 5 elements I am not. Because I am the seer, I am the awarer, I am the knower. Then who are you? Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. I am Chit, I am consciousness. I am Ananda, I am happiness, fullness. Shiva, auspiciousness I am. So this is called Atma Anatma Viveka. Discrimination or separation, separating the self from the non-self. These two are different, they are taken to be one. An example that is normally given in Vedanta is the example of a red hot iron ball. An iron ball, iron as you know, is black in color, cold to touch and round in shape. If this iron ball is placed in a furnace, then it gets heated, in course of time it becomes red hot iron ball. At that time somebody says it's called fireball and you think that iron is burning me. So that what we call fireball is union of two entities, iron and fire. There is intimate union. As a result, what happens? The iron seems to acquire the qualities of fire and fire seems to acquire the qualities of iron. So in fact, the iron is round, but the fire looks round. The roundness of iron is superimposed upon fire. The fire is red. Here, iron looks red. The fire is hot. The iron feels hot. So redness and heat of the fire are superimposed upon iron. It's called mutual superimposition. Where there are two entities, it appears to be one. So where do you separate? Separation takes place in our mind. Even when you see that red hot iron ball, the separation can take place in our mind. When we know the characteristics of iron and characteristics of fire, then we can separate them in our mind. If you know that the round form belongs to iron, then I know that the roundness belongs to iron. The heat and redness belong to fire. Thus, that separation will take place in our mind. You don't have to separate the iron and fire physically to know that separation. If you know the characteristics of iron and fire, then in your mind the separation can take place here also. This body, mind, sense complex is like that iron, lump of iron, and consciousness is like fire. So just as a fire pervades every atom of iron, so also consciousness pervades every cell of this body and mind and sense organs. And just as that fire is round and is red and hot because of iron, so also this body and mind are sentient because of consciousness. The heat that iron displays does not belong to iron, belongs to fire. The redness that iron displays belongs to fire, not to iron. Similarly, the sentiency that this body displays belongs to consciousness, not to the body. Our sense organs, our mind, all of these entities act as though they are conscious entities. The mind also appears to be a conscious entity because mind illumines its objects. The sense organs illumine their objects. The body displays sentiency. From all of this, we take for granted that these are conscious entities and therefore we take them to be the self. But the consciousness in this body, or sentience in the body, is not its own, is due to the consciousness that pervades the body. Just as the heat in the iron is due to fire that pervades the iron. So just as in our mind, we separate the iron and fire when we know their characteristics, so also in our mind, we can separate the consciousness or the self from the non-self, recognizing that this form, and that's why it's called shariram. In Sanskrit, the word is called shariram. Idam shariram. So word sharir is explained as shiryamanatva shariram. So that which is subject to disintegration is called shariram. Another word for it is called deha. Dakshamanatva deha. That is subject to being burnt is called deha. So this body is subject to disintegration, subject to being cremated. It's called shariram. The self is changeless, body is changing. The mind is changing, sense organs are changing. They are all subject to disintegration. The self which illumines them is changeless. So self is nirvikaraha. I am changeless, I am aware of all changes. So one who is aware of all the changes himself is changeless. One who is aware of all modification is free from all modifications. Then who am I? Changeless, free from modifications. That's what I am. I am the consciousness that is changeless, free from all modifications. The form belongs to body. Who am I? Formless consciousness I am. The shape and the form and the name, all of these belong to this body-mind complex, to my personality, to my costume. I am formless, shapeless, free from modifications, free from changes. This is a lesson given in the first verse. And the second verse gives also a very important lesson. Here, Arjuna, not only you are the self of this body, you are the self of all the bodies. Second verse is, Kshetrajnam chapimam viddhi sarvakshetreshu bharata. Hey Bharata, here Arjuna, know me to be the self in all the embodiments. All means all living beings, in all embodiments, I am the self. Beginning from all the devatas or gods, all the way up to an ant, whatever creatures and living beings there are, I am the self of all. So what separates you from me is that you have one body, sense, mind complex, another body, sense, mind complex, you have one costume, another costume, you have one personality, another personality, but the person manifesting there is the same person manifesting here. Just as one electricity manifests through many bulbs. Bulbs are many and varied. Some bulb may be 25 watts, 50 watts, 100 watts, 500 watts, 1000 watts. So the brightness and all of that is different because the capacity of bulbs are different, but same electricity manifests through all of them. Just as the bulb is dull, doesn't mean electricity is dull. Bulb is brighter, doesn't mean electricity is brighter. Electricity is one, changeless, and the differences all belong to the bulbs, to the tungsten filaments. Similarly, all these are all bulbs. So, in an example, the consciousness of the self is like electricity. This body, mind, sense complex is like different bulbs, if you want to say. Like different appliances. Heater is there, bulb is there, cooler is there, air conditioner is there. They're all appliances, same electricity. Similarly, one consciousness, one self manifests through all the living beings, without exception. The other example that Vedanta gives, though the electricity was not there, that's a new example, modern example. What example Vedantic texts give is one sun shining in the sky. Even a number of buckets or the water containers in which the sun gets reflected. There are as many reflections, as many water containers are there. Sun is one, the reflections are many. And you know something? What is the self of every reflection? Sun is the self of every reflection. Similarly, consciousness is one, as though it gets reflected in different minds and therefore appears to be many living beings. This Vedanta basically teaches us the unity and diversity, one in many. Suppose we know this, you know what will happen? Suppose I see the fact that what you are is what I am. What separates you from me is merely that body, mind, sense complex, but the self is the same. You know then what will happen? You know what relation I have with myself? I am the object of unconditional love of myself. Meaning that I love myself unconditionally. Our Swami used to say that look, the first thing when this fellow wakes up and goes to the bathroom, first thing he does is looks at his face. Nobody else may want to look at his face, but he wants to look at his face first time. while brushing the teeth, while doing all kinds of funny things, he is looking at his face. Before shower, after shower, before this, after that, Not only that, but any reflecting surface, he doesn't fail to see how he looks in that. The Fifth Avenue, when people take walk on the lunch, and all those big stores are there, so big glasses are there. They look in there and do a little bit and proceed further. How a person loves his face. That shows I am the object of love to myself. So the Upanishad also says that the self is the object of unconditional love. I love myself at all times, at all places, and all conditions. Suppose I realize the fact that you and I are one, then you know what will happen? You will suddenly become the object of my unconditional love. Is it not so? I love the self unconditionally, today also. If I realize that the self that I am, the self that you are, then you also become the object of my unconditional love. Is it not so? That is the reason why unconditional love becomes a value, so that someday we can recognize our oneness. See, we are taught different values. Last year we discussed them, and this couple of verses we included this time. But we were told non-violence is a value. This non-violence is also based on ultimately the oneness between you and I. I can be truly non-violent only when I see you as my own self. Then only there can be non-violence in the absolute sense. The only one whom I do not hurt is myself. And I will not hurt you any time if I recognize that you are myself. So values that are taught to us are all based on this oneness. Oneness, that is the very substratum of all the madness or diversity. This very chapter will say, what is the vision of the wise person? Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam Parameshwaram. One Lord, one self, one consciousness that equally abides in all the beings. Vinashatsu avinashantam. One that is imperishable, imperishable. Body is perishable. In the perishable body, what manifests is the imperishable self. The limited body, what manifests is the limitless. Unbelievable. Something we can never even think of. So how can I be limitless? Impossible. But what is limited is the body. Chandogya Upanishad says, there the teacher Prajapati teaches Indra. Martyam va Bhagavan idam, hey Bhagavan Indra, this body is Martya, is mortal, is the seat of the manifestation of immortal self. This limited little insignificant body is the seat of manifestation of the limitless. The limitless manifesting through this limited, the immortal manifesting through the mortal, the whole and complete manifesting through this incompleteness. Therefore, what is important is to discriminate between this limited and the limitless. So that's the reason why this chapter prescribes a number of values. Swamiji, how do we now make this knowledge a reality in our life? See, once you understand this, even logically we understand. It makes sense that limitlessness must be my nature. Why is it? Because I love limitlessness. I love freedom. Freedom, it makes sense that freedom must be my nature because I love freedom. Everything in the universe is comfortable with its own nature. Things become uncomfortable when they are diverse from their nature. Fire is very comfortable being hot, and ice very comfortable being cold. Water is comfortable being cold. If you heat this water, then water becomes uncomfortable and struggles to give up that heat. The struggle goes on in water until all the heat is given up and water attains its natural coolness. So we are struggling to give up this limitation, struggling to give up this sense of smallness, give up this lack and want, give up this unhappiness, give up this sorrow. We are struggling to give that up, means it is not our nature. If limitation was my nature, I would be happy being limited. I am not. If bondage was my nature, I would be happy being bound. I am not. I am happy when I am free. I am happy when I am adequate. That shows adequacy, freedom is my nature. Makes sense. What the Upanishad teaches also makes sense. Then what's the next step? Next step is to make that a reality. How do you do that? So Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita says that live a life of values and attitudes based on this reality. Right now, I am living a life of values and attitudes which are based on my false perception. My perception is that I am a small, limited entity. And thus, what is my constant attempt to hang on to my small, limited ego? So what am I doing? All the time trying to protect my small, limited ego. I feel successful when I assert my ego, not realizing that all along I am in fact hurting myself. So live a life based on the reality of your own self. The freedom is your nature. And therefore, act as though you are a free person. Act as though you are a limitless person. Act as though you are complete and full. But I am not. Act as though. Fake it till you make it. Fake it. Fake it means pretend, Pretend as though you are whole and complete being. So act on the basis of wholeness and completeness, not act on the basis of your smallness or limitedness. Because it will be perpetuated. More I act on the basis of my smallness, limitedness, self-centeredness, that alone will perpetuate it. Is not so? If I give reality to my smallness, my insecurity, then that alone will perpetuate it. Don't give reality. When I am a small, limited being, then I am a wanting being, I am a grabber. I want to grab. No, you are a complete being. So don't be a grabber, be a giver. So the value is not being grabber, be a giver. Not a consumer, be a contributor. Not a seeker, but not a demander, be a giver. There is a complete change in attitude and values that is required. Then only I will be living a life which is in keeping with the reality of myself. Then in this chapter, from verse 7 to 11, in those 5 verses, some 20 values were given, are given. Always non-violence is one value. Amanitvam, adambitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, arjuna. Pride is not the value, humility is the value. Pretentiousness, no. Lack of pretentiousness. Not violence, non-violence is a value. Shanti, forgiveness. Compassion is a value. Arjavam, straightforwardness is a value, not crookedness. Thus, surrender crookedness on the altar of straightforwardness, honesty. Surrender violence on the altar of non-violence. Surrender duality at the altar of non-duality. That's what it amounts to. You don't use this big word, non-duality, but that's what it is. Meaning that when I try to even follow the value of non-violence, meaning that it means that I am giving reality to non-duality, without even saying it so. When I follow the value of truthfulness, then I am automatically giving reality to non-duality, to oneness. When compassion is a value, kindness is a value, forgiveness is a value, all these things are really possible only when you and I are essentially one. Then alone these values become really, can be practiced in absolute manner. In the beginning, we practice in the relative manner. So that in course of time, they become absolute. That is the reason why these values and attitudes become very important. Then alone, this knowledge can be assimilated. What we understand intellectually can truly become a reality for us. We can gain the true benefit from what we are only when this ignorance is given up by first stage of following these values and attitude. So, karma yoga becomes an attitude. Perform action in the spirit of yoga, spirit of self-offering, spirit of a contributor, self-offering. Therefore, Lord Krishna prescribes what is known as the Nishkama Karma Yoga, meaning performing action without self-centered motive. Try to be as selfless as you can. It's not going to happen. It's not easy to be non-violent, not easy to be non-violent, not easy to be honest, not easy to be selfless, not at all easy. And who makes it difficult? My own insecurity make it difficult for me to follow these values. Nobody else. So my insecurities, my fears, all of these become inhibiting factors which come in my way. My own anger, my greed, my passions, these are the obstacles which come in the way of my trying to practice these values. Therefore, for non-violence, for truthfulness, for forgiveness, for compassion, it would be necessary that I have to subdue my anger, my greed, my selfishness, my jealousy. Unless I subdue them, it will not be possible to follow these values. Normally my greed and anger, they rule and not allow these values to be practiced. I am convinced that these values are valuable to me, that I am the most valuable to myself. If I am the most valuable, then knowing myself to be what I am becomes most valuable. Meaning, self-knowledge becomes most valuable. And therefore, these values that are conducive to self-knowledge become valuable. So when these values become valuable in my own perception, then I have the conviction to follow them. And when I try to follow them, as I say, my own inner passions, my own anger, greed, jealousy, selfishness, insecurity, they become obstacle to me. They are called asuras, they are called inner demons. I have to suppress them, subdue them. So So in the process of following these values, I progressively keep on subduing these inner demons, inner enemies, my inner passions, my inner compulsions. And my inner goodness slowly and slowly becomes stronger and stronger, becomes more and more victorious. Because both these things are there in me, the goodness also is there and evil also is there. To assert the goodness, it is important that I have to subdue the evil. Meaning I have to live a life like that, otherwise this knowledge will not become a reality for me. Meaning I will not benefit from the fact that I am limited. That does not become of benefit to me unless I live a life based on this reality. That is called yoga. So therefore, in the verses 7 to 11, Lord Krishna prescribed these different values. And we have selected a couple of those verses. So go to the next page, verse number 3. These are not very important values, but since last time we did not have a chance to discuss them, so I just will have a very brief discussion of that. Asaktiranabhishvangah Putradara gruhadisho Nityam cha samachittatvam Ishtanishtovapattishu Asakti, one value, this is non-attachment. Here Arjuna, may non-attachment become a value. What is attachment? See, most of our relationships are based on attachment. Attachment is one thing, love is somewhat different thing. Or attachment can be said to be a distorted form of love. The basic sentiment is love, In fact, anger, all of these are nothing but the distorted forms of love alone. For love alone becomes anger, that alone becomes greed, that alone becomes attachment. So love has sort of degenerated in the form of attachment. What is attachment? Love with expectation is called attachment. So attachment is love. Except that love has become polluted on account of expectation. Meaning that we do have love, but we have conditional love. I love you all right, as long as you satisfy my condition. As long as you smile at me, as long as you feed me, as long as you do what I want you to do, so long I love. The moment that stops happening, then my love also slowly evaporates. And the Swamiji says, I love you, I love you, I love you, I allow you, I allow you, I allow you. If you look at our own life also, you'll find so many relationships were there and then, we separated and now they are no more in part of our life. Because they are not useful anymore, they are they don't contribute to my life. As long as they contributed, so long they were important to me. They have no contribution now, they are no more important to me. So whether a person is important to me is decided by what? Whether that person has something to contribute to my life, something to offer to me. Do I derive some benefit from that person or not? So long the person is important. So what is important? Not the person, the benefit is important. But that's what we are. We are basically self-centered people. We are insecure people, we are needy people, and therefore whoever promises to fulfill that need becomes an object of my love. When that need is no more fulfilled, the love, which was the conditional love, also goes away with the condition. So in every relationship, there is love all right, but there are conditions also. So, asakti, an attachment or detachment. See, detachment very often is interpreted as lack of love. I am detached, I am indifferent. Indifference is not that. Detachment is not absence of love. Detachment is absence of conditions or absence of demand. So, unattachment means unconditional love. Love we have, but there are so many conditions. Why are those conditions? Because of our insecurity, because of our self-centeredness. Therefore those conditions are there. And today I keep on nourishing and nurturing my insecurity, nurturing my self-centeredness. That means that I am giving reality to my insecurity, my selfishness, my smallness. Then if I live a life based on giving reality to my smallness, when can I discover my limitlessness? So expectations that I have from others, the demands which I have from others, they are all originating from my smallness, small-mindedness, little-heartedness. Therefore, more importance I give to my expectations, more reality I am giving to my limitedness. So if I live a life based on giving reality to limitedness, how can I discover limitlessness? So with all great intentions, that Swami, we are studying Vedanta for years together, we are. But sometimes it is not recognized that the study or understanding has to reflect itself in terms of my behavior, my life, my attitudes, values. The understanding which is the intellectual level should be translated at the level of my emotion. I have an intellectual faculty and emotional faculty. Intellect faculty is called buddhi, intellect. Other is called mind, manas. Unfortunately, all our transactions or interactions are carried out by the mind, not by the intellect. So in the intellect I have all my understanding and knowledge, everything I have. I can give great lectures. But when I behave, it's the mind that behaves. And unless I have made an effort to make this mind mature, mind does not automatically become mature. Meaning that the wisdom which is in my intellect does not automatically translate itself in mind. I have to make a deliberate attempt to educate the mind constantly so that the mind's understanding comes in alignment with the understanding of intellect. That work I have to do. So Vedanta basically gives us understanding at the level of intellect. But I have to do that work of translating that understanding into my behavior, my emotions. Our Swami calls it emotional maturity. What is emotional maturity? The understanding which is in the intellect is translated at the level of emotions. Because all our interactions take place at the level of emotions. So therefore, asakti, non-attachment, becoming as less demanding. This demand will not go away immediately. It's not that our love will become unconditional right away. It won't happen. Step by step it will happen. We are so insecure within ourselves that we are very, we are not going to plunge into this unconditional love right away. I feel very insecure. Take one step at a time. Little bit of unconditional, little bit. So out of 100 acts that you perform one act without conditions and see the effect. Then 2, then 3. Asakti, unattachment. In fact, Shankaracharya says unattachment to everything, including all little things that you require, even for living your life, the basic things you require, there also attachment should not be there. Then this is mine. Sense of ownership. Very often attachment then it results into also sense of ownership. In relationship it results into making demands. With every thing that I have, it becomes ownership. So my house, my this, my that, this is mine. That ownership is attachment. Therefore, anasakti means what? Freedom from the sense of ownership. How can you live in Swamiji without ownership? Well, for a Swami it's very easy, because when I visit different places, I become their guest. I enjoy the same facilities that the owner enjoys, that the host enjoys, but I have no ownership. It is not that we cannot enjoy things without being owner, you can. So real owner is Ishvara. Who is the owner? The one who has created this. He has created everything. He is the real owner. And we are what we call the possessors or the trustees of the things. They say that I cannot even be called, this body also cannot be called mine. I am not the owner of this body also. It is also joined as a universal property. There is no private property in the universe. It's all universal property. The body also is universal property. Because I have not, it's a gift given to me. And many people claim on this body. Our Swami can tell you elaborately, how many people claim this body. The spouse claims the body and the better half or the lower half or whatever half I am, and so there is a claim on that body. Parents will claim on the body. We have given birth to this body and raised it. Children say, wait a minute, you have given birth to us, therefore you have claim on you. My boss of course says, I am paying you salary, therefore 8 or 10 hours a day, I have claim on this body. The state says that we have claim on you, so when a war is declared, all able-bodied persons will be drafted, whether you want it or not, they have claim. And thus, if you just look at how many people are claiming, what is left is ours, which is very little. And our Swamiji says, then so many bacteria are living in my stomach for generations together. They say, this is our place. This ownership is a notion. It's a one-way street also. Ownership is one-way street. Those slippers are mine. I call them mine. They don't call them theirs. If somebody walks away with that, he's not going to protest. My shoes don't protest. I belong to Swamiji. They don't say that. It's a one-way relationship. Thus, they say that this sense of ownership is merely a notion in my mind. But you can enjoy them. As a guest you can enjoy. As a possessor, as a trustee. My status is more of a trustee than of an owner. Asakti, freedom from ownership. Anavishvanga, next one says, Anavishvanga putradara gruhadishu. Our time is 6 to 7:30 or 6:30? 7:30. Oh. Anavishvanga putradara gruhadishu. Anavishvanga, absence of excessive attachment. Now the same rule cannot apply to everything. With books and furniture, I have absence of ownership or attachment. But as far as the very close relatives, associates are concerned, like the spouse, like children. I cannot have with them the relation that I have with furniture. With furniture, no ownership, no attachment. But you cannot say that with a child, with a spouse, with the parents. So those are closely related. Lord Krishna says lack of excessive attachment. Meaning that some attachment is going to be there for you to take care of a family, some attachment is going to be there. Then also, what's with the relationship? An attachment which is based more on giving and caring rather than possessing. Do not possess your children. Do not possess your spouse. Don't become possessive. See, we become slowly attached. Attachment shows dependence. We are so dependent that we become possessive. We become very insecure, and therefore we do not let them go, we hold them tight. So this husband keeps on always open looking at his wife. Who called? Who are you talking to? See, whose phone call was it? How come you're late half an hour? Well, trying to control, trying to possess. That shows again insecurity. So relationship, a healthy relationship. Adequate attachment is there in order for me to care for them. Certainly, my child is different from my neighbor's child. I have to accept it. That means I cannot have the same kind of feeling for my neighbor's child as I have for my child. So there is some special relationship, no doubt. Then with this body I have a special relation, we will accept it. So means some attachment is accepted. But anavish, lack of excessive attachment. What is excessive attachment? When I become too demanding, too possessive. Then, I asked my son, you must go to medical school. He wants to be a teacher. No. Why? Because what will they say? No, your son just wants to become a teacher. You must become a doctor. So not for your sake, for my sake. Get married to this. You can't marry this person. But why? We belong to this caste, that caste. What is social status? No, that's not acceptable. Because I judge myself based on my son's. His success is my success. His failure is my failure. This is called excessive attachment. We don't give freedom. When we say freedom, doesn't mean that we have become careless. I don't care for it. No. Take all the care, you care for it, and still you don't control. That's called a healthy relationship in which we care. We do all that is necessary and possible for us to do, with all care and love, without demanding that you have to return that favor, that you should do what I want you to do, without that kind of a demand. It's very difficult, but we have to grow to that. Anavishvanga, lack of excessive attachment for those who are very closely related to us. Nityancha, next line, samachittatvam ishta anishto vattishu. Lord Krishna says, ishta anishta upattishu. Regarding the gain of the desirable and the undesirable, samachittatvam, evenness of the mind, nityam, always. Lord Krishna says, always the evenness of the mind with regard to what comes to us. So what comes to us in terms of people, in terms of events, situations, that's what comes to us. I mean, that's what we are constantly confronting. We confront different situations, different events, different people. That's what comes to us. Prarabdha brings it to us, let's put it this way. Our prarabdha or destiny or Ishvara brings them to us. What should be our attitude towards them? Savachittatum, evenness of the mind. What is evenness of the mind? Today, when something that I like comes to me, then I embrace it. I become overjoyed, elated. And when something comes that I do not like, then I very often reject it. Meaning that we do not treat all circumstances the same way, we treat them differently. Moment something comes to me, I brand it first of all. Favorable, unfavorable. Desirable, undesirable. Moment I brand something as desirable, then my response is going to be one of favor. Moment I brand undesirable, I will be indifferent to that or I will dislike that. Desirable is treated in one way by me. Hey, come here, I have this seat here. Undesirable, sit there, don't come here. So, in there are those community feasts and people serve, volunteers, and you serve food to them. So, in the olden days, one of the important things was serving this ghee. I mean, they had some kind of a thing, the more you eat, then better it is. So they always, so they used to serve ghee after rice and after certain things. So then when you're serving ghee, your friend automatically, he just stays there for a little longer time. And somebody you don't like, you just pass. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. See how we treat differently. So the way we treat, the way we respond or react is determined by our likes and dislikes, attachments and aversions. So first of all, our mind brands something as desirable and undesirable, and then treats it accordingly. What is desirable is treated with favor, what undesirable is treated with disfavor. Even if I do not outwardly show, perhaps I may be, I'm a politician, then I won't show anything. But inside I know. Inside, favor and disfavor will take place. So it is not merely what we show, it is what we feel. Lord Krishna says, treat everything evenly, even-mindedness. But Swami, he is my friend, this fellow is my enemy, how can I be equal to them? This is called success, there is failure, how can I be equal to them? Even-minded. So we confront what we call dvandva, the pairs of opposites. The life consists of dvandva or pairs of opposites, like two sides of a coin. Sometimes success comes to me, sometimes failure. Sometimes honor, sometimes dishonor. Sometimes friend, sometimes foe. Sometimes comfort, sometimes discomfort. Is it not so? That's how it is. Whatever comes, I brand them that way. Whatever comes to me, I brand them success, failure. Comfort, discomfort. Honor, dishonor. Praise, censure. Favorable, unfavorable. Desirable, undesirable. I brand them and then treat them. I brand them and hang them. That's what I do. Lord Krishna, don't brand them. We can be even-minded only when we do not brand them. Understand that there are two dimensions to everything. We just said earlier that there is no doubt diversity, that you are different, I am different, there is no sameness at the superficial level. At the level of personality, everything is different. But remember that the person is the same. Remember, one electricity manifesting through all the bulbs. One sun reflecting in all the buckets. Similarly, one self, one consciousness, one Narayana if you like to say, or Shiva, or Narayana, or one Ishvara, manifesting through all the beings. So which part is important? Now there is something same and something non-same also. The same comes through the costume of non-same. Understand? So what will you give importance to? Today, our life is based on only what is non-same, meaning that what is dissimilar, what is diversity is important to us. And therefore, that oneness is ignored by us, is overlooked by us. So more importance we give to differences, then more we overlook the non-different, the one. And meaning that therefore, thereby, we get deprived of the benefit of that one. So when can we be even-minded? Ideally, when we realize that in all these different costumes, what comes is one Narayana, one self, one Ishvara. The Brahmin, or a cow, or an elephant, or a dog, or an untouchable. Different examples Bhagavad Gita gives. So whether it is sinner or saint, friend or foe, in all of them, samadrushtihi vishishyade, one who sees the same one here, he excels. So Lord Krishna prescribes this value of even-mindedness, which is possible when we remind ourselves that look, in this costume, where there is dissimilarity, where there is diversity, the one that manifests is the same self, same Ishvara, same Narayana. In mind, do not give importance to costume. Give importance to one who is wearing that costume, manifesting that costume. One actor may come as a beggar, he may come as a king, he may come as a minister. One actor may take variety of roles, put on different costumes. But when we recognize that actor, how we treat him, whether he comes as a beggar also, we still shake hands with him. Because we are not shaking hands with beggar, it's with an actor that we are. Similarly also recognizing there is one actor through all different costumes. When we do not treat them with even-mindedness, meaning we are giving importance to costume and therefore overlooking the actor. More importance we give to the actor. Overlook the costume, overlook the diversity, overlook the duality. Because what's our ultimate goal? The knowledge of non-dual, the knowledge of limitless. That's the goal. So these values, all of them ultimately are meant to put that into practice. If knowledge of self is a goal, and self being one and non-dual, it's one in all diversity. It's the same in all dissimilarities. In all then, in our life also, importance should be given to what is same and not what is dissimilar. Even-mindedness. Therefore, receive everybody. So what does it mean? Receive everybody and everything with the same love, same affection, same openness. You don't brand. Don't call something favorable unfavorable. Don't call it success. What do you call it? Call it prasada. It's called prasada buddhi. Whatever comes to me, either is sent by Ishvara or Ishvara in that form. Sometimes Ishvara comes as success, sometimes failure, sometimes honor, sometimes dishonor. That is his trick. He's testing me. But why doesn't he always come as success? Then I can be even-minded. Then you won't learn, you won't grow. Bhagavan is the coach, the tennis coach who wants to train me. If I am on this end of the court, if he keeps on giving me ball, okay beta, then I saw I'm very successful. I'm not going to learn. A good coach will make sure that I run from one end to the other. I sweat, get exhausted in half an hour. You are very cruel, the coach is very cruel. You can call it cruel. But the cruelty is meant for ultimately being kind. This is not so. So Ishvara is a coach. He wants me to grow. If everything favorable keeps on coming to me, I will never grow. That's why we spoil our children. We give them everything that they want and we make them incapable of even facing the life. Because life is not going to treat them that way. Anyway, so if you keep always Ishvara in mind, that he is always testing me and he is sending all this, he is coming in these different forms, then I am not going to be cheated by you anymore. I know you are coming as a friend, you are coming as foe, you are coming as success, you are coming as failure, you are coming in all these different guys. You do what you want. I won't be cheated. I won't be deluded. So Samachittatvam. Little simpler is Prasada Buddhi. It comes from Ishvara. And the way is Prasada of Ishvara. But better than that is seeing Ishvara himself. But that will be the next stage. First stage is called Prasada Buddhi. Success also is Prasada of Ishvara. Failure also is Prasada of Ishvara. Will culminate ultimately in seeing Ishvara in whatever comes. Nityam cha samachittatvam ishta anishto bhaktishu. Here Arjuna, when ishta and anishta, desirable and undesirable, when they present themselves before you, be even-minded, meaning see what is same in all that is similar. What is same? Its prasada is the same. Whether it's bitter or sweet, it is prasada. The success or failure is prasada. So Lord, this value is to train us to ultimately see that one. The same in all dissimilar, one in many. So therefore, these values are taught to us to prepare us for ultimately the knowledge of the self. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.